Sorcery Contested Realm is a game that is on many players' radars right now, since players of the big 3 or 4 TCGs started to become TCG curious, shall we say. And while there are many players of all of these TCGs that are quite happy to stay in these TCGs, I'd hazard a bet to say that there is more people who are curious about exploring other TCGs than there has ever been before. So it's safe to say that curiosity about Sorcery is at an all-time high. So let's look at the first set of this game. Let's enter the realm of Sorcery, the Contested Realm. A natural place to start is the first publicly available set, which is known as Beta. For Pokemon players, think of this as base set. This set offers a very diverse mix of cards of all different kinds, from powerful minions, lands that produce vital mana, spells that change the tides of the game, and artifacts that can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, or in the case of some cards, just leave a massive crater in the middle of the realm. Both are great options, of course. I won't go into how to play here, but if you do want a guide, I can certainly make one in the future. What I want to do here is list a number of terms that you will need to know if you want to understand what is going on in this TCG. Elements. Elements are of one of 4 types. These types are fire, water, earth and air. Usually cards are one of these or neutral. These elements are, in a way, non-restrictive, and a say fire deck can play a water card quite happily, so long as its sites or other cards allow it to generate the right amount of devotion of the right type. Which brings us on to devotion itself. Devotion is a measure of how, well, devoted your deck is to that element. You can play a poly-elemental deck, using all 4 elements if you wish, but in order to not get locked out of your own cards, you'd need to make sure that you are generating enough devotion as well as enough mana. Power is the combined attack and defense stat of your card. This is different to many other TCGs, but some cards have individual attack and defense stats as well, so watch out and read your cards quite carefully. Banishment is the name for the action of removing a card from the game. Unlike in other TCGs, banishment in this game seems to be permanent and lasts the full duration of the game. There are no cards I've seen so far that allow you to retrieve cards from banishment. Death's Door is what happens when a unit is reduced to 0 health. They normally start with 20. When they reach 0, they become immune to damage for 1 turn. This gives you something of a chance to actually survive and make a last turn. If they have finished off this turn, the game is over and the winner is decided. This may be just one of many ways to win the game, but it is the primary way to win the game. Flooding. Flooding a land site turns it into a water site, which then counts as a body of water. Any non-flying minions or units that were burrowed beneath the land site immediately die, since these land sites are now flooded, unless they possess the submerge keyword. Yes, this game does in fact have what I would call live status for your minions. If they're in water and don't have submerge, but they do have flying, then they are above the water. If they don't, then they are swimming in it, disabling them from attacking effectively. This gets messy, of course, as there are many keywords, but there is a good guide in the starter set, and a good guide online as well. But this isn't a breakdown of the mechanics of the game. This is just a breakdown of mechanics that you can see in the set. So let's get into the most important piece in your roster. Your avatar. Your avatar represents you, the player, in some regard. They are a minion with special rules that allow you to play strategically. Choosing your avatar carefully is very important, as certain avatars have their own unique abilities. So let's go over each of the avatars in beta. Battle Mage. Battle Mage is a unit of an avatar. He hits hard with 3 attack, and he rewards you for getting kills. Each kill gives you a draw from your spellbook, otherwise known as your deck. Death Speaker. Death Speaker leans fully into the archetypal necromancer, rewarding you by letting you cast a dead minion each turn. This ability gets even sweeter if your avatar is at death's door, because he gets to do this for free. The downside is he banishes that minion if it dies. This means that every time you use this ability, you are removing your precious minions to the shadow realm, so to speak, and killing your chances of summoning them back, which is pretty risky. Elementalist is a simple avatar. This one gives you an additional devotion to each element. Enchantress is a wild card. She turns an aura into a minion with power equal to its cost. This is a really unique ability that offers a lot of options for making strong, stompy decks. Flamecaller turns your dead fire minions into projectiles, effectively throwing their lit ablaze bodies as projectiles. This is a powerful ability, only limited by the pile of corpses you leave behind. But do note that this does banish said minions so this is quite a costly effect. Geomancer is very thematic. He builds rubble being a site that generates no mana. Then he can build a new site on top of that rubble, replacing the dead site with one that is useful. This ability can allow for an acceleration of your plans to dominate the realm, and after a while, especially with support cards, he could be absolutely devastating. Now, Pathfinder is very strict, but she rewards discipline. She creates sites at the cost of the ability to play duplicate sites. She also requires you take a bit of a hit in terms of drawing sites on the first turn, but for those restrictions, you get abilities similar to Geomancer. But unlike Geomancer, she also pushes forward and sets herself up to advance and create more sites. Seer allows you to, well, see into the future, so to speak. You look at the top 2 cards of your spellbook, and if you don't like them, put them on the bottom of the deck. Simple as that. It's a simple, sweet effect, and it has no cost. Yes, you get to do this every single turn. This makes Seer incredibly powerful. Sorcerer is pure draw power, offering you the chance to play a site, draw one, or draw an additional spell. It's simple, it's sweet, and it's less flashy than some of the other avatars. Spark Mage is a beast. It deals damage to another random unit on a location that you choose that is equal to the sum of air spells you've already cast. This means devotion to air will probably be something that you must prioritize when building a deck around this card. Throwing lightning bolts at targets indiscriminately is certainly a valid strategy, and a fun one too. Wave Shaper. Wave Shaper floods sites near bodies of water. This is a powerful ability, depending on how you deploy it. It also paralyzes units that are on said flooded site. This is another really good, strong ability. This roster of avatars from the first publicly available sorcery set are, well, to be honest, completely incredible. The number of choices of playstyle far exceed anything I was expecting from a first set of any game. Usually the first set is pretty tame. I think there will be something here for everybody. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Some of these avatars are absolutely completely stronger than others. Some are very neutral, offering mild buffs, if any, but others offer strong edges in terms of competition with other players. I think here, choosing the right avatar will be very important, as I keep saying, because getting the right one that matches your playstyle and your deck will be key to actually winning. Uniques are truly what make this game, well, unique. There are so many that need to be talked about, but let's just look at one for now. We'll look at King of the Realm. Other mortals have +1 power. You control all mortals. Just an automatic for 7 mana, total control over everything with that mortal keyword. That's got some specific use, but it could be potentially very, very powerful under the right circumstances. And that's the thing, so far as I can see in this set. There are no uniques that will outright win you the game. There is no deal 20 damage to the enemy avatar cards. The effects of uniques are so specific or so powerful that they could only really be used once. And that's just as well because you only get 1 copy per deck. These cards are absolute game changers. They really are a whole other class of card. Seriously, if you check nothing else out from this set, check out the uniques. These cards turn the rules of TCGs on the head. The art of this set is gorgeous, drawing inspiration from all of the main corners of fantasy and historical references, from folklore to high fantasy, to Egyptian and Middle Eastern art styles, to the outright Lovecraftian. The art feels rich and gorgeous in this set. It feels almost vibrant, alive. Like there's something truly unique for every taste. You can make a theme deck very easily with this set, or go for a menagerie of minions and spells that suit your strategy. It's entirely up to you. The artistic styling is very varied, and this is one of the most controversial elements of this set. Some people are very used to the monotype art of other TCGs. If I remove the border from this card, you know what it is. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. If I cut off the details from this card, it could be from literally any other game. That's the main criticism levied at this set, that there's too much variation, that there is not enough focus. But I personally don't see that, and I don't really see, even if it was true, that as a problem. The monotypical, very samey art of other TCGs, for me, is a turn on and a turn off. You could very easily go over the top with artistic freedom in your card, but I think the set doesn't do that. The set offers artists a place to show their vision of what these cards look like. And I think that's important. There have been a myriad of controversies recently in TCGs surrounding artistic freedom and artistic licenses and all of these kinds of things, with a lot of TCGs actively censoring the voice of artists and the expression of artists. And whether you're on the side of vision or you're on the side of the artist. That's irrelevant here. This set shows you exactly the kind of things that, again, in my opinion, we should be seeing from modern TCGs that base themselves in ancient stories and lore. The art of current TCGs should not be coloured by the modern sensibilities that are temporary. Who the hell wants everything plastered in beige anywhere? This is a set that is a technicolor explosion of real artists showing what they really feel, and it shows. So simmer down, art snobs. This is a game with a vision, and that vision is, in my view, beautiful. The set also doesn't hold back on the realities of human body part. Yes, this is a set that has breasts, other such things. It isn't compromising vision for the sake of modern squeamish sensibility. In a world that makes everything so overly sanitized and sterile, this is a thing to be applauded and celebrated. Not because breasts are good, though breasts are good, but because the human form is in fact a beautiful thing, a thing of inspiration, a thing of horror, a thing of beauty. Some people will inevitably hate that, but those people can simply play something else. We finally move to the mechanics of the set. This set features tug of war between the submerge, flood, burrowing, and airborne mechanics. As games unfold, quite which danger you are facing, how much of it, and what exactly you are facing will change as well, with lots of mechanics clashing for domination over the board. Flood, of course, floods sites. Fire streaks through the landscapes from certain cards' abilities. Deadly pitfalls put all minions in peril, and so much more. Every game is bound to feel different, and as a result, every game will feel fresh. And you got to admit, that is a beautiful thing. Water is very powerful in this set, being the colour base with the most choice. Every avatar can of course utilize these powerful water cards, again depending on the level of devotion that they are able to achieve. There are pirate ships and sea monsters, cosmic horrors and demons, beasts from hell and ordinary men, and everything in between. The main combatants, it must be said, in this set are fire and water. They seem to have many more cards that are opposing each other rather than anything else, leaving poor air and earth doing their own thing, kind of twiddling their thumb. But that's a minor criticism, because we have the ability to look at current sets, Gothic and Arthurian legends, and see that this dynamic completely changed in the successive sets. And this dominion was of course broken. Fire and water in this set represent control and destruction. Isn't that a beautiful distillation of TCG dynamics and meta strategies in a nutshell? There are many heavy-hitting cards. Incredibly powerful cards. More powerful cards than perhaps we would expect from a first set. We have lands that turn into minions, minions that turn into statues, you name it, this set has it. There are so many cards that actually do something, cause an effect, like causing massive damage to everyone for a turn, to cards that clone artifacts that can completely turn a game around, to cards that turn people into frogs. I love the frogs. I cannot mention how much I love the frogs. There's a frog that eats a minion and carries it around in its stomach for the rest of the game. Seriously, check out the frogs in this set. The synergy cards in this set are clearly designed with the avatars in mind, with so many great combos. You could flood sites and turn enemies into frogs, sail a pirate ship straight into the enemy avatar's face while they look on in horror at their ruined, very wet sites. You could turn void into rubble, and rubble into fertile land, and boost your mana endlessly. You could launch endless lightning strikes as you laugh at the enemy while they deal with your insanity. You could boil everything into a soup and hurl the dead at the enemies like they're toys. You could bury people and create armies of undead and feast on everything that's living. You get the picture. The cards work so well with the avatars in this set that you can tell the game must have been designed with the avatars first and support designed afterwards. And that is a beautiful and unique thing in TCGs, I think. But with a set as large as this, I have to be honest with you. If you are drafting, I'm unsure that you will pull one of every card that you need. This is a 409 card set, but each booster box offers only 402 cards. That's a very generous number of cards, of course, for a 36 card booster box. But if you did have in mind a specific card, it must be pretty much impossible to pull that, say, unique that you wanted. And if you want a foil, forget about it. So pull rates are something you definitely have to bear in mind when you're looking for specific cards. Also, it's worth mentioning the secondary market for this game is, in the UK, very spotty. It exists, yes, but it can be overpriced in general for all Sorcery products, so keep this in mind. In closing, I think this set represents a truly brilliant start to a game that is sorely needed right now. Of course, this video and review is post-release by about 3 years. I'm a little bit behind on this one, so you know how much the TCG scene did need this, and created a space that allowed other TCGs to follow in its way. But indulge me for a moment. Let's look at the TCG scene back then. It was pretty bare bones, pretty much a dry spell of TCGs save for a few breakout ones. And then Sorcery comes into the scene and shows everyone what a small TCG really can be, and gives you a chance to step back into fantasy's broader themes without burying you in lore dumps or dumb exposition. The cards here just exist, and that's great. No story to read up on. These are creatures you are summoning to your side to fight for you, spells that you are casting to work for you. This is your story, your game, your fight. This set also has a great sense of humour about itself, with a very tongue-in-cheek, dark, almost Python-esque playfulness. That balance is really hard to maintain, of course, but it's managed really well here. I'm in love with this set. In fact, I'm in love with this game overall. It's been fascinating looking back at the very beginning, the DNA of this game, the proverbial base set of the game, and seeing if it had cohesion even back then. And I can safely say Erik's Curiosa, the makers of this game, did. This is a stunning first set to a TCG that was, and continues to be, very important in a world of generic, mayfly-like TCGs that are 10 a penny and do nothing to capture attention, and of course, the old guard. I do recommend you check out this TCG yourself, be it through Gothic, Beta, or Arthurian Legends. Thank you for listening, and goodbye for now.